you've had your hand up for a while. Yeah.
Mr. Friedkin, I'm a big fan of your work. I recently saw Cruising, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. Cruising, yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, so critics also often say that your work is very subversive and challenging.
Great.
Do you no, but do you, no. Do you see your work as, personally as subversive, or are you just exploring topics that you find interesting to yourself
nailed it.
personally?
I couldn't say it better myself. I'm just exploring topics that I find interesting. And I had no political context for Cruising at all. It was a murder mystery set in the S&M world, the leather bars, which were, not experienced by a lot of people. So to me, it was a unique setting for an actual series of murders. You are all aware that one of the origins of Cruising is The Exorcist, are you not?
First of all, you guys have all seen Cruising, right? Yeah. All right. Whoa, shit. Well, we gotta show it soon. So you all can watch it. This is an amazing story.
There's a scene in The Exorcist. You aware of this, Mark?
Yeah.
There's a scene in The Exorcist at the NYU neuropsychiatric lab where they were doing brain surgeries. And in The Exorcist movie, I shot at the NYU Medical Center with an actual neurosurgeon and his assistant. It's the arteriogram scene. That was the way at the time of determining brain damage. They would inject a fluid into the carotid artery up into the brain. The fluid would outline the arteries of the brain, and they could see if any of the arteries of the brain had been damaged, because they knew how they should look. And the fluid would outline them in actuality to see if any seemed to have been broken. So I shot this scene with Linda Blair, and the scene was shot so authentically that it became a training film for that procedure at NYU.
Wow.
There is a young man in it who is the assistant, who helps Linda Blair onto the pallet that she's on and prepares her with iodine for the place in which they're going to insert the fluid through her neck. And it's an actual neurosurgeon and his actual assistant. And I remember at the time, this was in 1972, noticing that this young man who was in a hospital operating room was wearing a leather-studded bracelet, and he had an earring. And that was not common in the workplace then, in any workplace. Where so much of gay life was in the closet. And I just remembered that about this young man. 4 or 5 years later, I was living in New York, and I opened up one of the tabloids. I think it was either the News or the Post. And I see the picture of this guy. And I remember thinking, I know this guy. Who is this guy? Oh my God, this is the guy who worked in the neuropsychiatric center at NYU, who was in my movie. And the headline was he was being charged with 6 of these murders in the leather bars.
Wow.
So I read the article and I see his lawyer's name. I called his lawyer. The guy's name was Paul Bateson. I called his lawyer and I told him who I was, and I said, "You think Paul would see me?" He was being held at Rikers Island, which is the big holding facility in Manhattan for someone who's awaiting trial. His lawyer came back and said, "Yeah, he'll see you." I went through about 8 or 9 layers of bureaucracy to get to see him in his cell at Rikers. There's a guard standing by barred windows. Doors were barred, and I went in alone and sat with him, with a guard like over there. And I said, Paul. Well, first he said, hey, how's the movie doing? It was still running. I said, it's doing fine, Paul. I said, Paul, did you kill these people? He said, I remember killing the first guy.